Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Sonic Adventure 2? Kristen, I almost said jump in the holograms there.
Nope. Other thing.
Yep, not doing that. Hello once again. Here we are, the Can We Talk About podcast. Here we are, Kristen, Can We Talking. This is our third part, our third in a series about a video game from 2001 that in retrospect is not as good as we may remember, although there are different circumstances on your end that we will get to today.
Yeah, we're gonna talk.
It is that awkward controlling, awful camera-ing, amazingly comical, video game air quotes classic Sonic Adventure 2. How did you know the emerald was fake? My name's Joe.
I was just saving the Master Emerald. I'm Kristen.
And we are playing Sonic Adventure 2 through different means. Myself on Steam, and Kristen, you are through, it's PS Now. I wrote PS Plus, I keep getting this wrong.
You keep forgetting, yes, it's ostensibly something. Hey, play it right now over the internet. Sometimes.
Internet being the key word there.
Uh-huh.
And you had some problems with PS Now.
Yeah, so I'd mentioned before that I had begun to get the sneaking suspicion that my internet connection, and because every time there's like just a slight problem, a little icon shows up on PS Now that's like, hey, your internet connection is a little bit weak, you might experience some problems. And before that was just like, you know, occasionally my inputs were lagging a little bit being the operative word. So if you're interested on seeing what I had to deal with this time around on the cwtapod Twitter, you can see a video of the audio cutting out completely, me attempting to unpause, and then all of the frames happening at once.
Yeah, it looked horrifying.
I did my best. I wasn't able to finish the Hero in Dark Stories. I got very close. I had to stop after I was more than halfway through Crazy Gadget, and the internet connection was so bad that PS Now was like, we just gotta close, dude. We can't salvage this.
And this is after postponing this episode a week because of these problems previously.
Yep, so I'm doing my best here.
So, Kristen, have you been playing any other games recently?
I beat Tales of Berseria. Did I talk about that already?
I don't know if you talked about that you beat it, but how many hours did that take? Because I know RPGs. Was that 80, I'm going to say? I'm gonna say 80.
No, it wasn't that much. I didn't do a ton of the side quest stuff because in the Tales of games, it is a little bit of a slog to, like, go out of your way to be like, oh, well, you're mainlining the story, and it's pretty easy to tell you where you need to go next. It takes place on a big continent where there's a lot of sailing involved.
Okay.
So getting to new places is very easy, as opposed to, I don't know if you remember, Joe, in Tales of Symphonia, you literally walked the map of 2 different continents.
There wasn't a fast travel system in Tales of Symphonia, was there?
You slowly gained the ability to move slightly faster on the world map.
Wow.
And, like, via different means, because there were, like, the air bikes that you eventually got near the end of the game that made travel super easy, but for quite a lot of the game, you were just walking around on foot, and it sucks. But I think I finished it with either, like, just 50 hours or a little bit less than 50 hours. It took me, my, gauge is, how long did it take me to beat Persona 5? Like, 80 hours? Okay.
That must have just been what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I bought and played, it came out on Tuesday, Danganronpa V3, and it's good.
Cool. You also bought me Cook Serve Delicious 2 for my birthday.
Yes, I did, because you asked me. So, Kristen, this week, if you need a refresher, we left off with both stories to face down a scary pyramid monster.
We sure did.
2 different scary pyramid monsters. And with Kristen, the episodes starting in a pyramid but ending in outer space, it's quite a case of so we leave the pyramid fairly quickly. We're done. It's just the bosses, then the rest of this episode is going to be in space, right?
Yes, this is when you start thinking, though, I think maybe aesthetic-wise, this game wasn't sure what it was going for.
I mean, you gotta think, Kristen, Sonic games always had different shit going on in the different stages. Like, that's like saying, like, how can Marble Zone coexist with Scrap Brain Zone? That doesn't make sense.
Hey, Joe, you know what the difference is?
8 or 9 years? 10 years, actually, from the first game, yes.
I was gonna say that when Sonic was 2D, they didn't show him going from Green Hill Zone to Gamble Zone.
No, they didn't. You know what thing that they did do in Sonic Mania, however?
What?
Show how Sonic gets between zones, sometimes.
That's not necessary! I feel pretty comfortable saying that after we see some of the modes of travel available to our heroes in this fucking game.
In either case, Kristen, it is October, so now it's time for things to get spooky. We'll play the little song thing at the beginning here, and then it's time for that Grossed! King Boom Boom.
Ugh.
So this is where we left off, Kristen. The Ghost. If you don't remember, Knuckles is just kind of hanging out. There's just a big ghost in the pyramid, which I don't think is Eggman's doing. It's just there, probably.
Yeah, he got those keys, and then he was like, well, I guess I'll just... What is that? My first note for this, because, as you know, hero side, I did put, I wish I were dead, but instead I'm playing this game.
Kristen, King Boom Boo is an exercise in patience, and it is my least favorite kind of boss fight. It is much like Bigfoot and Hot Shot, where you just kind of, you gotta run, you gotta not die for about 15 to 25 seconds until it's like, okay, now it's time to attack.
It would be like if during those flying mech fights there was also a giant stone cylinder in the middle of the arena that you had to fight going around.
So, basically, the gist of the boss fight is it's gonna throw fire at you while you run away from it. It's gonna...
Can't run too fast.
You can't run too fast, yeah, as well, which I use the trick of Green Forest where I just run along the edge so I'm not actually running at full speed.
Mm-hmm. I think it only turned around once on me. King Boom Boo did only take me one try. I was, like, sweating the whole time. I had to pause after my second hit and go... like, oh my god!
So, Kristen, the way that it works to get a hit is fucking convoluted as shit as well, and takes way too many steps, I think. So, you're in a room where it's dark.
Yep. Hey, Joe, what do ghosts hate?
Light, I guess?
I guess so.
They're vampires.
They sure are.
You gotta hit a ghost that's holding an hourglass thing, which opens up all of the light and stuff. So King Boom Boo doesn't get hurt by this. He's just like, oh no shit, I gotta go into the ground and become a silhouette, I guess.
I gotta become a manta ray and attack Delfino Island. I'm glad, because I was telling you last time, in my memory, I couldn't remember if the ghost split up into tinier pieces that you had to go after that were faster. It doesn't. It's still a pain in the ass to go after. You need to kind of just make sure you glide and hopefully land on top of it so then you can dig, or you need to have very good aim and glide and then dig down while gliding.
And it's not enough to dig either, Kristen. You gotta dig and then hopefully...
It's all being timed.
This is all being timed as well, yes, much like the hourglasses in Pyramid Cave. Because I've had it happen before. Now, this was pretty much smooth sailing for me playing it this time, but you know, you and I both have experience where this fight is a motherfucker. So
I just actually, someone I follow on YouTube this week happened to be streaming kind of around from this point to the end of the hero story, so I watched him do it, and it took him maybe 15 minutes to do this boss fight, because the camera, every single time he went after the ghost silhouette, it went right where the camera kept switching, like, shoulders back and forth.
Yeah.
And he, like, just could not move in the right direction. He was starting to go crazy.
No, it's not fun. So, not only do you have to dig, but yes, he starts running away. And it's easy to catch him and shit. But I know
Can you get him twice on one hourglass?
No, he starts running too. He starts getting supersonic speed, and...
Because I got pretty close to him after hitting him once. I was, like, thinking, like, if the lights stay on just a little bit longer, I might be able to sock him again, but I never got close enough.
And, I mean, as far as I know, maybe there's like a super secret speedrun thing that you could do. I don't know.
I'll have to look into it.
But you do it 4 times. You go through all of that 4 times, and it ends up being about usually like 3 minutes of a boss fight.
After the second hit, he starts to add more moves and like chomp at you first. And I did write, I'm halfway through this fight. Why does this bitch ghost make helicopter noises?
He does. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. There was a point where you really, in these 2 boss fights on the hero side, you need to be super careful with how often you're picking up rings. Because if you get bumped and then you can't go back for other rings, there's just not rings left.
Yeah, you gotta be a little careful about that, which I didn't actually have that problem with that golem, but I don't even think I was hit on King Boom Boo, but I know I've had that problem before.
I wrote down, it sucked, I'm shaking. I was very nervous for this boss fight. I remembered hating it a lot.
I wrote, Kristen, it's a slog. I would rather do Mad Space than King Boom Boo, and I fucking hate Mad Space.
Ouch.
So we move on here, Kristen, to the Egg Golem. We're actually, we probably could have done King Boom Boo last episode just so we could have started with Egg Golem here.
Whatever. So I guess we start with the Sonic version, then go to the Eggman version.
Yeah, we do 2 boss fights in a row in the hero story, which is interesting, but whatever.
That's a kind way to put it.
Egg Golem is a much more manageable boss, and actually I think it's pretty interesting because, again, it's Sonic and Eggman, 2 vastly different playstyles that you're doing here. However, Kristen, we can actually kind of talk of both at once here. For the Eggman one, Egg Golem doesn't really change his moves up, and Eggman doesn't run as fast as Sonic, so you're gonna get hit a lot in the Eggman one.
This was the first thing that I did once I picked up playing the game again, because in my mind I was like, I'm gonna get the dark story out of the way. For some reason, that's where my brain went. It was because I didn't want to fight King Boom Boo. I feel like I really didn't have that many problems with that golem when I did Eggman. So the thing that happened with Sonic is it took me a little while to get the hang of how the game wanted me to behave. It took me 4 tries, but the first try that I did, I was fighting it for like 10 minutes because I just kept falling into the goddamn sand. It got to the point where there were barely any platforms left, and I kept jumping down. I had gotten all the rings in the stage, and then I died with it having 1 hit left.
Oh,
so my
fun.
problem was that with the platforms in the back of it, I could get back there pretty easily, but if I didn't feel like I was in a good enough position to just do a single jump, I would try to do a homing jump, and I would skate right off the edge and fall into the sand. So I missed a lot of attempts to hit it in my first round. And then as for my second and third deaths, I started the fight. I was like, okay, I need to go grab this ring really quick. And my controller just didn't want Sonic to go where I was trying to point him.
Oh, fun.
And I got smashed before I could pick up a ring and just died immediately, twice.
Wonderful. In the Sonic version of Egg Golem, you say like how the game wanted you to behave. All I did was I ran to the left or the right to get away from its first attack. Probably picked up a ring and just started jumping on the platforms and then, hit the thing on its head, and I think you'd have to do it like 4 or 5 times, and I didn't have any problems. And when it did the way that it places its hands like a fucking and like starts spinning, I just kind of jumped down to the bottom when that happened.
See, if I was lucky, I would be 2 platforms where one is slightly higher than the other. If you just hide in that nook there, it can't hit you.
Oh.
Whereas if you are down in the sand, it's harder to tell which way it's going to be facing when you get up. And if you go onto one of the pulleys that lifts you up, it can still hit you, even though you should kind of technically be out of its range, but whatever.
Yes, I learned that when playing the Eggman version of the fight.
Yes, on my 4th attempt, I did beat it very quickly. There was the thing where, with the platforms on its back, you jump manually up the first 3, and then you can homing attack the rest of the ones going up. It misunderstood my button prompts one of the times, and I ended up also just jumping onto the tinier platforms that you're supposed to homing, and I did it perfectly, and I was like, that was very confusing. I don't think I was supposed to do it that way. Also, this was the beginning of my problems. I wrote down, the internet connection keeps bringing my frame rate down, and I'm just barely making it. Oh my god.
Yep. So, as well, here, with the homing attack stuff, I hit 2 or 3 hits. I didn't even bother with the homing attack things. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I could do that, can't I? That's why they're glowing.
Yeah. It made, again, my final attempt where I beat it very quick. I must have been out of rings also, because in my notes I said I barely made it. And we didn't actually talk about the cutscene before this. It's
the same cutscene.
Yeah, Eggman sweeps in. We get to see the full version of what was condensed in the cutscene in the dark version, which was Sonic just, Wata! Chie kicking at the Egg Golem's head.
Yeah, kicking the thing off its head. So, with the Eggman version of the fight, as I said, it does the same attacks and stuff, which, since you're not as fast as Sonic, you're gonna get cheap hits out the ass. At least, that was my experience. Maybe I'm bad, but...
I think it was one of those things where once I remembered its very limited attack patterns that it does, I just kind of faced God and shot, and eventually it died.
Yeah, that's really all you need to do in the Eggman version.
There's not nearly as much strategy involved as I thought there was.
No, you just keep firing, and eventually it'll die, and that's really all that there is to that version of the fight. On the bottom, they give you platforms kindly because you're not Sonic and you can't jump out of the fucking sand if you fall into it, so...
But you still can silly Kristen, if you're playing and for some reason you don't hover when you hit the hover button, you're going in that sand.
Speaking of button prompts that don't work, Kristen, we're moving on to Eternal Engine. So let's start with the cutscene here, Kristen. This is a cutscene that we see twice. In both stories. One is significantly longer because I guess it needs to be. But we see that Eggman did indeed have some spaceships as Sonic. Oh, he says spaceships laying around. So,
hey, quick question.
Yes, Kristen.
So they really end up stealing a rocket when Eggman literally uses teleportation to get to space when he does it. Tails can fly a real spaceship rocket, but he can't just sniff out a teleporter? Dumbass.
That's what I said here. Yes, they don't even find the teleporter, and I guess Amy, Knuckles, and Tails are already on the fucking space shuttle here because...
You got it, Sonic! Meet you there.
I'm gonna wait until 10 just to make it exciting.
That sounds like something he would do, that motherfucker.
I really liked what happened in Metal Harbor. Maybe this thing will explode and I can surf in space.
Let's do it again.
So he runs off here into the shuttle as it hits like 5, and liftoff starts before 0 as well, I noticed.
Eggman!
So the cutscene stops at this point in the dark story, but so we continue in the hero story. The ship is flying toward the space colony here, and it just ends up hitting some meteors. I don't know, I guess Tails is flying, like you said, Kristen.
I can't imagine anyone else is.
Judging from the cutscene, Sonic and Knuckles are fighting over the controls, so maybe Sonic is flying it?
There was a cargo hold and they only put Master Emerald pieces in there. Hey, Knuckles, keep them in your non-existent pockets.
Where Rouge kept him in her cleavage, I guess. Kristen, where's Knuckles supposed to keep him?
In his cleavage!
Yeah, they hit a meteor, and it opens up the cargo bay, which just has a bunch of Master Emerald pieces. More than the 3 that you pick up in Meteor Herd, by the way.
Whatever. It's weird, when he puts the Master Emerald back together later, it's smaller than it was before. Huh.
Knuckles, starts fighting for controls of the space shuttle here, just being like, I need to go get the Master Emerald pieces, and then it just starts spinning and everybody goes at different times. They don't all start screaming at the same time, they just start going, Wah!
Sonic is also like, what's the big deal? What the fuck do you think is the big deal?
Why did you bring me?
Why am I here?
Everyone's fine, though, because the next scene immediately starts with Sonic.
They got onto Ark somehow.
Sonic, Tails, and Amy just standing in a hallway in the Ark here, and he's just like, I can't believe that knucklehead.
I can't believe he needs to go find the pieces of the thing that's literally his only job to keep.
Amy calls the space colony old and dusty, and then Tails turns on his exposition voice here, talking about a terrible accident, shut down 50 years ago, Bernoulli space colony. It was state-of-the-art at its time, and then Amy goes, but now it's an abandoned Ark, isn't it?
So, shouldn't they have predicted that Tails' voice would be so intolerable that people wouldn't want exposition delivered through him? Because I sure as hell wasn't listening.
That's the thing. Every time Tails talks, other than, I guess the scenes with Eggman, my eyes glaze over because you just hear, and it's like, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, tell me about the science in the game full of animals that talk.
And Sonic's like, we just gotta find the cannon and destroy it. But it can't be blown up from the outside, so they gotta launch a plan. A plan that doesn't involve Knuckles, because he's off doing fucking whatever.
Thank God he wasn't a linchpin in stopping the cannon.
Tails reveals that he has a fake Chaos Emerald at this point,
What?
Kristen.
This makes way less sense than I remember.
I think there was a switcheroo that happened, judging by what goes on here. But, okay, his plan to destroy the cannon. It's the same wavelength, he says, and it's got the same properties. It's gonna fucking, reverse their polarity of the Chaos Emeralds or something.
It basically sounds like Tails is saying, yeah, I made a Chaos Emerald.
It looks so real, even a machine can't tell the difference.
So it's basically exactly the same, but not really. Within the limits of what we need it to do based on the plot, it's basically a Chaos Emerald.
It's a Chaos Emerald that does the Master Emerald thing of nullifying the power of the Chaos Emeralds and will blow up.
I don't want to talk about this. It doesn't make any sense.
Sonic's gonna go need to find the control panel here, and Tails is going to blow up the power supply here, the Eternal Engine, if you will. And they leave Amy behind again, which actually comes back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah, maybe they will learn their lesson after this.
Eternal Engine, Kristen, is a stage that I disliked quite a bit as a child because of
don't say.
Because of its gimmick.
I dislike it now.
I still dislike it. It's not as bad as Sand Ocean, but I still disliked it. So the game up to this point in the Tails and Eggman stages rewards you for wanton destruction of everything.
Not so anymore.
Not so in Eternal Engine. You gotta be careful, because if you blow up a fucking dynamite pack on a door, it's gonna open up the vacuum of space, and you're gonna get fucking blown out into space if you get too close to it.
Joe?
Yes.
That wasn't even at all slightly my problem with this stage. The space shit, I didn't have any problems with it. It was everything else.
So it uses the same assets from Lost Colony and Crazy Gadget, which
Cool!
we'll see later here. But, Kristen, it suffers from the same problem, being just, again, boring aesthetic. But please, tell me of the problems that you had.
Okay, well, first of all, worth pointing out, hey, remember in the Eggman stage, there was space gravity, so you could float?
We will get to Cosmic Wall. Yes, you can float in space.
What the fuck happened to that?
No space gravity in this stage, so...
So that was part of my issue. As I was doing a bad job platforming, that's what I started to think. So yeah, basically, I didn't have too many problems at the start of this. It's partway through when you get to a section with a lot of outdoor space platforming, which with some railings, that was helpful. But it puts you at these weird canted angles with a fixed camera and expects you to know what direction to push the stick in to go in the right direction. And platforming, especially platforming that is heavily reliant on you being able to hover at the correct height of your jump when your frame rate's freaking out, hey, it's hard.
It's difficult, yes. You did tell me that after everything calmed down, for a little while, you did end up beating Eternal Engine in one try.
It was annoying because I remember from the Sonic Space stages, as Omochao would say, robots that look like experiments. The things that look like chaos from the other game. I remembered from the Sonic stages that beating them not being too hard, like they do wiggle their arms out at you, and that can be annoying. When you're when you're facing off against them when you're in the mech, they shrink back down when you target them. Do
they? I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I had a really hard time killing them. There was the area where there's one of them in the hallway that Omochao's watch out for that guy. And then there's 3 of them in the next room. That area killed me twice just because they kept hitting me so much and so often that I died.
See, the thing is, because I did put as well that these artificial chaos things, as I referred to them, for a long time now, they're in every level of the game after this, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. Moving forward. And in Eternal Engine, especially since I didn't want to blow up the fucking doors on shit, I just ignored them completely and ran right past them most of the time. That resulted in probably one hit on me, one of them hitting me once, and then, but the door, it wasn't one of those things where you needed to beat them to advance to unlock the next door, at least most of the time, I don't think. So,
yeah, it wasn't, because to avoid, the space dynamite problem, by the way, there's dynamite on these things. Is that a trap that Eggman set, or... what's the logic behind them being there in the first place? It doesn't matter. I basically would go into a room, and if I saw a path that I could just run through, I just ran through, and didn't have that many problems. But yeah, I had gotten a pretty good reserve of lives from the last few levels that I was playing. I think it was when I was doing the Dark Story. I ended up doing really, really well and getting a lot of lives, weirdly enough. So when I switched to the Hero Story so that we could record, I think by the time I got to that area that I had issues platforming and I had 5 lives, and I was tweeting at you the whole time I was doing this.
Yep.
And eventually I got to one of the last sections where you need to hover. I even didn't blow up one of the platforms. Somehow I avoided targeting it, so I had an extra platform to stand on. And then as I was hovering and holding down the button, the game said, "Fuck you," and made me stop hovering and plummeted me straight down.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
And I got a game over, so I took a 3-hour nap.
Eternal Engine ends, Kristen, with, I guess, what could be called a mini-boss fight. You end up in a platform thing that locks you in place. You're moving side to side like it's Pong, and you're shooting at this Eternal Engine, and then it blows up. And
it's like the engine from Kirby. What the heck's that thing called?
The Cannon's Core thing?
No. Wait, yes, maybe?
That's the thing where you need to use the lasers to hit the diamond thing hidden by the barrier, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of that.
I don't remember what the actual name of that is. God, I love Kirby Superstar.
I was going to say, hey, Kirby Superstar is a good game!
Why don't we play Kirby Superstar?
We should. I love that game so much. Hey, good platforming.
I nearly died at the end, too, because it's not enough to just blow it up to end the stage. You also need to go get the ring, and I wasn't paying attention and almost fell off the platform that Tails is locked onto, because it just lets you go when it blows up, and you just start moving forward again, and I'm like, whoa, fuck.
Yeah, hey, great news. I also, once it let go of me, I was like, okay, how am I supposed to get over there? So my input controls being like, no, fuck you. I did fall straight off of the edge. However, it has that weird space gravity, and it tosses you until you get over to the ring platform.
Oh, well, that's good at least. At least
Yeah, because I was like, oh no!
Game testers were probably like, well, I fell and died here. And it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you made this last part bad. What the fuck do I do?
I give Eternal Engine, Kristen, 4 engines out of 10. 4 space dynamites out of 10, because it's still not as bad as Sand Ocean.
I give my first run at it a 0 out of 10 for not letting me use the buttons to play the video game. And my second run, it's 5 out of 10. It's really not that bad.
So, Kristen, we see a little scene here before we go back to the Dark Story. Sonic is at the main console with the Chaos Emeralds, and it's like, okay, now you gotta put the Chaos Emerald into the thing. The Tails over the walkie-talkie. I skipped that very important part.
Wait, whose voice was that? Was that Sonic?
That was Sonic. Like, all right, I'm gonna put the thing in here. Gotta go fast.
Yeah, I think that's what he sounds like.
And Eggman takes the walkie-talkie, I guess, or something. He just slaps the walkie-talkie out of Tails' hand and is just like, I got your girlfriend at gunpoint. Bleh!
Who knows how Eggman even got there.
And... Damn, it took me a second. And somehow you can still hear Tails on the thing, and Tails can't just say, Sonic, Amy's been kidnapped. It's just, Sonic, Amy. It's like, what? What with Amy? I didn't get that.
Oh, who cares?
More on that later. Mad Space. So, we have a cutscene before Mad Space, thankfully.
Uh-huh.
Rouge is in the control room now, where Sonic was just a moment ago, or will be later, I guess.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out here. She gets a call from Eggman, and it's just like, all right, cool, what's going on? Wait a minute, they escaped. Well, all right. I guess it's my time to shine. Can I have your password real quick?
Hey, really quick. I need to print something out. Can I get the password to your computer?
I want to make a color print real quick. Do you have a dime?
Hang on. Shit. I don't have any change. What's the password? Hey, what's the password?
So she asks Eggman for the password to the space colony here, and he just gives it to her, and Rouge, after hanging up, goes, tricking that old doctor is just too easy.
Or maybe before hanging up. We really don't know.
That might be how they find out that she is a government spy.
Who knows? So she starts going into his boring business documents file and just goes through a bunch of folders like, okay, where is the stuff about the ultimate life form? Whoa! What?
Oh no, this can't be right. Just what is Shadow anyway?
Doesn't matter.
He ain't so fine.
No.
What's he got?
We're not going to talk about something. We're not going to talk about something good. Don't you bring pizzazz into this.
Rouge then sees the hero team hanging around, and her resolve is to grab the pieces of the Master Emerald.
I'm out of here!
And not face down the hero. I mean, she said she did just say that to Eggman, so she probably was bullshitting and used that to get whatever.
She doesn't care.
Mad Space Kristen, fuck this level, 1 out of 10.
I didn't have that many problems with it.
Nope.
I mean, it's annoying. I also just used all of the hints because I wasn't here for their, oh, it's backwards. Oh, it's the opposite of what it actually says. I'm like, no, just tell me where it is. Fuck you.
Mad Space is a level that is annoying for many, many, many reasons. You get the iron boots so you can crash through the fucking gray containers now, so there you go.
Cool.
Luckily, I found those pretty quickly. Did that take you any time to find, Kristen? I mean, your options are kind of limited without it, but...
Yeah, I feel like I don't have a great track record with finding upgrades very quickly, but whatever. What I seem to remember is any issues that I do have, it's because it's very hard to keep track of what upgrades you already have when you're playing both stories at once. I just get super confused. I'm like, why can't I break these metal boxes? Because I've gotten like 3 other upgrades already that let me do that.
So Mad Space is basically, it's a bunch of disconnected areas.
I did that by accident.
Yeah, okay.
No, that was an accident because I was saving it for Meteor Herd, and I tapped it to make sure my phone wouldn't go to sleep, but then I spoiled the surprise.
And a lot of them have their own gravity source, that's the problem. So...
Yes. Hey, you know that camera? Hey, Joe.
Yes.
What if it were worse?
The camera is the worst it's ever been in Mad Space, and a lot of times because of the artificial gravity and stuff, if you're just kind of flying, you get to a point where the camera doesn't know what direction to face, so Rouge just kind of ends up flying in a little circle.
Yeah, it's very cute. You know, we've discussed before that I have a little bit of a motion sickness problem.
Yes.
So I almost puked my pants when I was playing Mad Space.
Yeah, that's the big problem. Is I'm pretty good fortified with like not getting stomach aches, having problems with motion sickness things, unless I'm sitting in the back of a car for some reason.
Mm-hmm. In order to hedge my bets with the hero story things, I took a Dramamine beforehand just to be safe. I used to do that when I was playing Fallout 3 on a really big TV. It's very stupid.
But I was a little like, ugh, after Mad Space, so it's bad.
I just stumble out of my room and just eat a bunch of crackers really quick because I was like, I'm gonna die. And I was doing this on my birthday, by the way. Getting really sick playing a Rouge level on my birthday.
So, Mad Space, that's the big problems with it. As well, Kristen, of course. All the messages are backwards. And that could be, as in, written backwards, or the opposite of where you need to go.
Yeah, so on the bright side, I guess if you're a kid, that's tough. So whenever I looked at a first hint, I just paused to go directly to the screen to just slowly read it backwards.
Yeah.
Not terribly difficult.
Not terribly difficult, but annoying. The thing is, Kristen, why does Mad Space have all of these gimmicks when Meteor Herd does not have any of these gimmicks?
Hey, Joe, great question. Don't know. When I was playing Meteor Herd, I was like, are these backwards? They really don't seem like they're written to be backwards.
So, this caps off Rouge levels here, so let's go over Rouge levels really quick here, Kristen.
They're bad.
They're bad. Dry Lagoon's the only passable one. I like Security Hall. I like Security Hall.
I didn't have, after not having the issues that I thought I would with Security Hall, I don't have any bad will toward it. It's fine. Mostly, though, bad.
Headquarters, Mad Space, Route 280. Bad. Bad, bad. Bad, bad, bad.
Bat.
Bat! Yes. Thank you.
Very bad.
Why does Rouge get 5? There's 14 stages in the Dark Story.
Yeah.
Rouge gets 5 of them. So, did Shadow get shortchanged here? Because he's got, what? He's got Radical Highway, White Jungle, Skyrail, and Final Rush, and that's it?
What do we do with the other hedgehog? I don't know, it's a hedgehog game. Figure it out.
I guess Eggman's supposed to be the driving force of the Dark Story. Whatever. So,
who cares?
Let's move on now, Kristen. Oh, actually, what's your score for Mad Space?
Oh, well, 1 out of, was it 10? I forgot already.
Yeah, hey, you
it's
can
like, is it 5 or 10? Doesn't matter, it's the same score either way.
You can make it 1 out of 20 if you like.
I nearly threw up, that's my score. I didn't even do that.
I was inhaling, Kristen, just about to say Meteor Herd.
I swear to God, I didn't mean to do that.
Now it's time for Meteor Herd. There we go.
You know what that's for? The music in this stage.
A good level. So Kristen, I did explain in my notes for Meteor Herd that while people probably prefer Pumpkin Hill, Meteor Herd's my favorite.
Level?
No, music.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Because literally the only problem I have with Meteor Herd is it's too tall.
Yes, that's the problem that I have with it as well. Meteor Herd is, for all intents and purposes, a very normal stage, which this late in the game, I'm fine with. No gimmicks and just a stage? Oh my god.
Sounds great.
Holy fuck.
Really quick, Joe, I missed some notes that I wrote for Eternal Engine.
Oh, okay.
Just for your reference, or if you would like to keep them in. I did, after writing "This lag is making my life a living hell," I wrote, "My favorite part of this game is when there's no frames." Like, the lag got to the point where it was lagging so much that the UI started to kind of look chipped away and corrupted.
Yeah, I noticed that too in the video that you sent me of you unpausing the game and the pause menu not going away.
Yeah. Let's just take away parts of the game. That's how bad it looked. So, yeah. I didn't have too much of an issue with my time in Meteor Herd. I did end up dying after 2 attempts that went really, really well, and after having 2 Chaos Emeralds, my lag got so bad with my internet that PSN closed again.
Nice.
And I had to start over, so that was awesome, because it's one of those things where, like some of the other levels, where if you need to go back and forth a lot, depending on what is coming up on your radar, me having to go all the way up to the top of the stage twice fucking sucks.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, Meteor Herd is just a very it should be it is what it is for like an end of the game kind of level like this. It's just very expansive. But as a result, it doesn't really cover a lot of that space very well. So my 3rd emerald, Kristen, in Meteor Herd was in a meteor, like a floating meteor. That was about, I'm going to say, not at the tallest point of the level, about midway tall area. Not anywhere near the platforms. You just had to fly toward it.
Yeah, I love those. Remember what I said about the hitboxes for these levels?
Not great.
No. I actually, in Mad Space, one of the emeralds that I had was I had to take a rocket out, and then I could see the emerald, but it was in front of me.
Oh, God.
And so, like, the rocket didn't drop me onto the emerald, so it took me so many tries. Like, nothing was killing me, but it's the worst when you just can't get it to do what you're trying to do and have to keep attempting it over and over and over again. What I eventually found out, because I kept trying to fly toward it to kind of, like, circle around, but then I was underneath it. So what I had to do is, after I got off the rocket, what I did is I just held the control stick forward, and that was enough for me to bump straight into it.
Fun. Great.
Hey, at that point, hey, video game, why don't you just let the rocket take me directly into it?
So, as well, Kristen, I got the sunglasses in Meteor Herd, and I wasn't really trying to.
Oh, I forgot about those.
I just, what you need to do to get the sunglasses, because there are upgrades in the game that are actually optional. The Scouter for Rouge, which I don't even remember where that is. It might be in Security Hall. I don't know if I can remember. It's probably, I don't know. There's the Scouter for Rouge, the sunglasses for Knuckles, and the auto-breathing device for Knuckles, which we will talk about in Part 4.
Yep, because we're not masochists.
No. No. Where you need to punch a rock into a door, which will make the door explode, and behind that broken door is a switch, which opens up the main, like, center area of the stage is, I don't even know what the fuck it is, but there's lava underneath it, so...
Yeah, it's a battle arena, as we'll soon see.
Yeah, it's a battle arena, and you get the sunglasses there. And as far as Meteor Herd goes as a level, I'm gonna give it 7 punchy meteors out of 10. Was that a 1 out of 10 from you, Kristen?
No, it was just an air horn. So the boss fight is next.
We've got the Knuckles/Rouge boss fight, depending on which side of the story you are playing on here, and this is the first of the 3 awkward final character confrontations, not even just from a gameplay perspective, but from a story perspective, especially this one.
Yep, this boss fight's very annoying, both versions of it.
I mean, there's no difference between them, really.
Not at all, which on the bright side, once you do one, you can do the other, and it's really not hard, it's just frustrating, because the arena is weird. You're both tiny.
Yeah, you're small.
And the AI is an idiot.
The AI is bad. So you gotta hit a small target weirdly, because it's one of those things where, much like in, if it's Sonic versus Shadow, if you just walk up and punch the other person, you kind of bounce off each other.
Yeah, which is super fun. This is another one where I had that issue where it was just me running around and suddenly I didn't have rings anymore, so Rouge was on her last hit, but then she hit me first and I died.
Yeah, so the area of battle here is the center platform area for Meteor Herd, which after about a minute opens up and you can't be on there anymore. Or it'll close after another minute, I think,
bounces
right?
you up and you have to start walking along the scaffolding built around it, which you can only fall off of one side of. So it's just very confusing. A lot of times I would just end up standing there and spin the camera around to be like, okay, where the fuck is Rouge? Because I'm not going to run around just looking for her. Because it also has 3 levels to it.
That's the biggest problem, is the fact that if you lose Rouge or Knuckles in this fight, you may as well just wait, because Lord knows where they are. They're probably end up coming to you.
Floating right next to one of the slats, trying to get on, but because if you don't move, they really don't move. I just watched Rouge fly futilely for a while.
I did write that the strategy for this fight is basically to not die, and yes, to keep an eye on where your enemy is. So, I didn't really have much problems with the fight. I don't even remember if I died on either of them, but it's awkward because you gotta kind of hit them at the right angle. I think the thing that works best is the, flying above them and doing the drill down.
I was just kind of trying that, as a crapshoot, just, flying around. Well, they're probably underneath me now. Dive! And I hit pretty reliably.
Yeah, again, awkward fight. It was just basically, it's a big time waster, so...
Yep, very boring.
After the fight, we have a cutscene here. Both of them are exhausted, and they both lay claim to the Master Emerald pieces as well, saying the same thing at the same time. How cute, Kristen!
They have met their equals.
Rouge then tries to shame Knuckles for attacking her, and Knuckles says, what kind of lady steals gems anyway? So
that's a false equivalence.
That is, because Gem did an adventure in China, and was framed for it in Culture Clash.
See? It's not that weird, Knuckles.
Lady Jewel Thieves are out there. What about Catwoman, huh?
It's a thing. Rouge is just like Catwoman. But she is Batwoman. Super funny, I know.
So, Rouge takes literally one step here, Kristen, and I guess it's probably the fact that she's wearing these fucking high-heel boots on a crossbar.
I guess so. So she falls, and there's a very slow shot of her falling into the lava, which previously had enough hot gas flying upward that it propelled her and she didn't have to worry about gravity. But I guess that's not a thing anymore. Also, she's a bat!
She can fly, yes.
Like, video game!
I guess she forgot that she could fly.
She's just so scared, so Knuckles uses chaos control and grabs her hand and pulls her back up.
They look longingly in each other's eyes for a second here before Rouge calls Knuckles a baka and that she didn't want to be saved by him or anything.
What we didn't see is with his gigantic hands, when Knuckles grabbed Rouge's arm, he also copped a feel. It wasn't intentional, but it was unavoidable.
His hand is just that large.
Yep. He touches any part of you when he's touching a boobie.
And then she says that Knuckles just wanted to hold her hand, that creep!
Knuckles says, it's not like I wanted to save you. I was just protecting the emerald. Hey, would the Master Emerald pieces get melted in lava? I'm just curious.
That's a very good question.
Seems like it probably shouldn't, with it being magic and all.
The Master Emerald.
Who knows?
Rouge just kind of grabs all the emerald pieces that she has. She just 2 handfuls from her cleavage and tosses them on the crossbeam. And surprisingly, none of them fall into the lava when she does this.
They have better balance than she does.
And that's basically it. She's just like, well, fine, you could have him. She feigns that she isn't gracious because Knuckles is like, I just saved your life. What the fuck?
So Knuckles puts back together the Master Emerald, and they have a weird moment where they kind of look at each other, and very quietly, way quieter than the soundtrack, Knuckles says, I'm sorry if I hurt you.
What? Speak up.
I'm sorry if I hurt you.
Oh.
Are you enjoying the sexual tension between a bat and an echidna?
Also, Kristen, when Rouge gives the emeralds back, she says that they stink like echidnas do.
That's racist.
Whoa, Rouge! Come on, lady.
I did start to Google, and I posted it on the podcast Twitter. Do Knuckles and Rouge ever become a thing, like in the comics or something? And I Googled it, and then I didn't actually look at the results because I don't want to know. I'm not that curious at all. Not even a little bit.
So yeah, Kristen, Knuckles puts the Master Emerald back together here, says he's sorry, runs away, and then Rouge goes, "We should get going," to no one in particular, and then leaves.
She's talking to the president. She has him inside her cleavage.
The president's just like, "You're gonna fuck that echidna?"
Not while I'm here, you're not gonna. She's like, fine.
Why is the president suddenly Richard Nixon again?
Who knows?
Cosmic Wall! Kristen.
The last good level?
Cosmic Wall is actually a very good level.
I didn't have any problems with it, so hey, that's good enough for me.
Its gimmick is, as we stated previously when talking about Eternal Engine, you know the hover, it was just kind of like, before it'd be like, oh, you kind of move down slowly. Now you move up, which is great.
Yeah! Make that platforming work for Kristen.
It's pretty great, actually. And even though it has a lot of the things that were in, like, Hidden Base, where, you know, you have to shoot the things a few times to break them.
Whatever.
I didn't even, none of them are in an area where I had to jump more than once to destroy them, so...
Plus you fly up now.
Because of the aforementioned flying upward, it helps a lot, and... I'm sorry, Kristen, we skipped an entire cutscene because I wanted to talk about Cosmic Wall and how great it is.
Whatever. Yeah, I'll explain the thing, I guess.
So, we're at the pyramid base here. This is the last time we're seeing the pyramid, thank God.
Oh, God, we went back in time.
He's just still hanging out here, even though he has the teleporter back to space, and here's where he finds that there are 2 separate emerald readings on his computer, and that one of them must be a fake.
Great! So much for that gambit.
Shadow goes to leave here, so Shadow's here. He's just hanging out in the background, has not said anything. I don't think he says a thing in this cutscene.
Just starts to walk away. Peace out, old man.
And Eggman's just like, "Wait, Shadow! I should be the one telling them the end is near, not you. Now is the time to end this long, drawn-out battle and mark myself a place in history as the ultimate genius."
So how does that go? Not great, it doesn't seem.
Eggman's suddenly in his mech as well here, and he, for some reason, I don't know if this is supposed to show a bond between them or something, but...
It's so touching.
Eggman's just like, "Shadow, if I die, you gotta carry out the plan, okay?"
Okay. I don't think Shadow's feeling it the same way that Eggman is, and that's awkward.
Shadow doesn't even say anything.
Eggman, he lets it hang there, and he's like, "I'll take that as a yes. I'm gonna go now before this gets weirder." So
he puts his goggles down for the second time here, and we get to see his full bald head that looks weird, and he goes, "The time for attack is now!" And
cool.
So he takes the teleporter, Kristen. Now, I thought the teleporter took him to the control room.
No joke goes anywhere.
It just takes him to the stage, to Cosmic Wall.
Woo! Let's go.
So, back to Cosmic Wall very quickly here, Kristen. This level uses the same assets as Final Rush and Final Chase, but it's visually distinct enough with its kind of it's the best of those 3 levels.
You know what it doesn't have? Railings that go wobble, 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 wobble.
That's true, which is the stupidest part of the Sonic one of those. Final Rush, I guess, because, Chase. Chase is Shadow, because he's chasing Sonic, I guess, but...
I don't care.
Oh, whatever. So, I mean, and the level's decently long as well. It's about 5 or 6 minutes, but you really don't feel that length.
God, I feel like it took me 7 minutes when I played. I remember going through it, and I wasn't taking a long time or anything, and just thinking, when the hell is this level over? Like, it's fine, I'm not having problems or anything, but it's long!
The thing is, it's fun, so I never really cared, I guess.
I think I just started getting worried, where I was like, this doesn't feel right, something bad's gonna happen. I think this was the level I got all my lives in.
I mean, it's understandable, because I don't want to say it's easy either, because, I mean, it's probably, again, I'm just assuming that this is years of playing this level coming to the forefront of just being like, yeah! But,
I don't remember having any particular issues either.
It's not stupid like Eternal Engine, it's not bad like Sand Ocean. It's actually, Kristen, legitimately, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's not, it's probably, I'm going to say it's the second best level after City Escape or maybe Pumpkin Hill. Well, and third best in that case.
Pumpkin Hill is very carried by its music.
It's on the, yes, that's true. So probably, yes, second best in terms of actually playing a fun level.
So, hey, remember how they left Amy behind?
The cutscene starts here. Does Amy, is she just talking out loud and just being like, I can't believe they left me alone?
I can't believe they left me here. They always
always do all the fun stuff when I'm not around. I'm like literally 9 and they brought me to space.
Why did they bring Amy to space?
Hey, great question. She's not doing any of the work. Like with Knuckles, it was like he found the key to get in, he fought the ghost, he's still looking for Rouge, and she's up in space, so up in space he goes. Amy should be at home doing her fucking homework.
One thing that we missed, Kristen, or we must have missed, was in that same cutscene of Sonic running on the shuttle, Amy runs in at 1, and they're just like, I'm here! It's like, no, Amy! And then at that point, the shuttle already was taking off.
She definitely, like with the G-force for that shuttle taking off, got flattened up against the ground. Her brain's broken, that's why she's still hanging out, and that's why it's even worse that they abandoned her.
She's somehow autonomous despite her brain being goo.
Lucky for Eggman, he just finds her and shoves a gun straight into her mouth.
I love this thing of Eggman is in a mech suit, a gigantic fucking mech suit, and he pulls out a big Megatron-looking gun, and is just like, aha, gotcha! Like,
I have 500 guns on me, but this one is attached to my hand.
so I have much more control over it.
I can use it manually. I can aim it directly against your eye.
I mean, technically as well, he can do this to also be aiming at Tails when Tails confronts him here.
Whatever. So,
even though he's in a mech suit too.
Whatever is happening now, he has Amy, so crazy gadget.
Yeah, he goes, if you value your life, you'll tell me where Sonic and Tails are, and we will come back to this in a bit because it feeds right into the next cutscene, I believe, in the Dark Story.
Shoo-whoop.
Crazy Gadget!
I didn't end up beating this level.
I'm not a fan of Crazy Gadget, Kristen. It doesn't help that the level itself feels a little stale. Again, this is the third level we're in with this asset set, so... and the first two being mech levels got a bad precedent set. It does have a gravity switch gimmick, which is mildly successful, I'll say. A lot of the problems of the stage stem from the change in the gravity, though.
Yeah, there were a couple times where, due to no fault of my own, I will definitely say, besides the ridiculous frame rate problems that I was having, there would be times where I would flip a gravity switch and it would just send me hurling to my death. And I would go, great, how was I supposed to know which one to flip then, you dick?
The thing is here, Kristen, with the gravity switches and such, Sonic doesn't control very well on normal standing.
Sure does not. And then upside down?
Upside down, it's worse, but to the left or the right, it's even worse.
I was telling you, when I was partway through Crazy Gadget before I actually gave up, there's a point right after a checkpoint where you are upside down and you have to jump onto a grind rail to go over a pit of acid. I'm really not that bad at video games. I missed that jump 5 times in a row. No matter how hard I tried, and I had done it previously and then died later and then got brought back to that checkpoint. So just for some reason, I couldn't connect. And when I would try to push the stick just forward, when it would spawn me at the checkpoint directly in front of this railing, I would just go, take me directly forward. Sonic's like, I'm going to veer off to the right, actually. I think I'd like to go this way.
So, yes, the biggest problem with Crazy Gadget is cheap deaths, which thankfully I did not run into any because, Kristen, Crazy Gadget is one of those stages that, as a child, a lot of these I'm viewing as a child, these stages, especially these later ones where there were much more bullshit, or there was much more bullshit, I should say. Crazy Gadget was one that I hated, absolutely hated, as a child, mostly because of the maze part at the end, but the gravity shit did not work well with me. I did not like it.
I don't blame you. I don't know how I feel about this level because I was, after reviewing footage online, probably 2/3 of the way through. Like, I'd gotten decently far. I'd gotten the flame somersault and everything. And then my PSN connection broke.
Yep, so you were done.
And the game shut down. And I said, hey, Joe, I'm not playing this anymore. I will try to beat these levels for the next time.
Well, you have to, otherwise I'm going to be the only person talking about the final story.
I will beat these levels for the next time.
So, the stage ends, Kristen, with, as I said, a gravity maze that I hated with every fiber of my being, up until this time. When playing it this time, now again, I was much more careful because I knew that there was a lot of bullshit deaths in this level and such. Yes. So, playing it, I don't know what kind of problems I was even having as a kid, too, because I know...
Well, you were a kid, that was probably it.
Yeah, I know, a lot of it was probably just like, where am I supposed to go from here? Even though it's pretty obvious where you need to go on a lot of these. It does offer, like, many paths that look like they might be right, but kill you. So...
I love it!
So I liked it, and it's one of those things as well where you need to hit a missile to destroy a barrier to get to the goal ring, because if you don't do that, you need to start over. Which I know that I'm pretty sure the first time I completed it, I was like, yes! And then I didn't get the thing to open the missile, and it's just like, no, you gotta start over, and I'm like, fuck!
Hey, quick question. Why is there a barrier up if Eggman the whole time is saying, hey, come on?
That's the other thing. Eggman jeers you throughout this level, much like Security Hall, and...
It's the exact same tone of voice. He's like, Sonic, hurry up!
Don't you want to save your girlfriend? Fuck. Or like, God, the cannon's gonna fire. Let's go!
It was funny. One of the times that he started yelling at me is when I went through a checkpoint, and I saw the time come up in the corner, and for a split second, I thought that it was timed, and I just didn't notice. And I was like, no!
One more thing I wanted to point out about Crazy Gadget here, Kristen. The rules of gravity don't make sense.
You don't say.
So, you change the gravity with the switches. You know, we know that. But
yes.
There are several points throughout the stage where if you use the light dash, it's just all of a sudden like, oh no, now you're stuck to the left wall. Now the gravity has changed. Why? Why did that happen?
Because Sonic's so fast.
And then you fucking hit a bumper so fast that it changes the gravity. Like, what the fuck?
The bumper changes your personal orbit.
I give it 5 gravity changes out of 10 because it's not bad. It's whatever.
I gave it and I didn't beat it out of 10.
It's far better than what I would have given it previously here.
That's called personal growth.
You're right. Mm-hmm. So Kristen, we're in a cutscene now, one of my favorite cutscenes, I believe, and I'm so glad we get to see it twice when it's exactly the same. Even Sonic's inner thoughts about the fake emerald are the same in both stories.
Jesus.
So we're in a room with Tails facing down Eggman. The door opens, and here is Sonic looking all heroic and badass and whatever.
The Rocky theme starts playing.
Eggman still has his gun pointed at Amy, and it's just, he goes, Sonic, it's time to hand over the Chaos Emerald. Slowly! And then we'll talk about Amy, if you even care about her.
So he's like, Sonic in his head thinks about how, handing over the fake emerald will kill 2 birds with 1 stone. One of those birds being Amy.
I like to think that he's just yelling that out loud to himself.
His inner thoughts aren't very quiet.
So Sonic just, with his normal, starts walking to the middle of the room and goes, you've turned into a big-time villain, Dagger.
Threatening murder and whatnot.
And he goes to set the emerald down here, and Eggman goes, ha ha ha, as he normally would or whatever, and down comes the special hedgehog trapping capsule meant for Shadow built by Maria.
Wow. So, this whole thing is so stupid and circuitous and coming in so late in the overall story. But Eggman is like, you thought you could trick me with that fake emerald?
And Tails goes, how'd you know the emerald was a fake?
How?
To which, I love how Sonic is just like, Tails! And Eggman goes, you just told me, you fuck. So, Kristen, Tails' expression at this point is the stupidest thing ever, because I think he's supposed to look like he's surprised, but he doesn't have an ounce of, sorrow or, oh shit on his face, so he's just like, oh, cool!
Oh! Well, gosh, you got me!
He appears to have been happy that he was duped.
He's just excited to be dealing with someone that has any semblance of a brain, given his usual company.
Eggman says he's gonna drop the capsule here, and Sonic go boom. Sonic accepts his death.
Sonic boom, Sonic boom, Sonic boom.
Sonic accepts his death at this point.
Hey, who knew he was so ready to die?
Where he's just like, Tails, you're the man of the house now, and Amy, take care of yourself. All right, I'm out. Bye-bye.
Yep.
So sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog, as the fucking capsule...
Adios, Sonic the Shadow Hog.
The capsule drops and explodes in the dark story, at least here. In the hero story, it continues for a little bit because we see Sonic burning up in the fucking atmosphere of the Earth as he just starts hearing Tails' voice in his head to use the Force, Luke, and fucking...
He just kind of looks down at the fake emerald and he's like, well, maybe I could... Boom!
So it explodes. Eggman calls Sonic his admirable adversary and is just like, okay, but you're gonna give me the emerald now.
And he wept with no worlds left to conquer, but only for a second. Hey, okay, Fox Man! We've got unfinished business. Oh, Renishi!
This, however, has strengthened Tails' resolve. He goes, oh, Renishi. I guess he doesn't care about Amy being a hostage anymore because he's just like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna fight Eggman now.
I like Tails' 2 animated expressions, one of which is eyes wide open like, I'm a dumbass! And his angry one, which makes him look like an angry dumbass.
Which makes him look like he's got to poop.
Yup. I can't find a bathroom, so I need to take my aggression out on you.
The Tails and Eggman fight. Kristen, is this as far you got in the dark story?
Yeah, because Tails killed me a bunch of times, so I quit because I got mad.
The only notes I have for this is this fight sucks and is bullshit. which...
You informed me that I should have been hitting the thing in the center of the stage that explodes. Because the problem was, basically, I was doing my best to do what I know best to do in these types of fights, which is, okay, the big laser attack happens that your enemy does. Circle strafe, like it's a straight laser.
Right.
Unfortunately, the AI can anticipate the direction you're going in and correct itself.
Yes, it can track where you're going, basically, and more than likely you're going to get hit by the laser twice, which is instant death, I believe.
Yeah, I did the fight 3 times, I think, before giving up, and I definitely only dodged that laser once.
Yes, I did the same. In both fights, I did the same. What happened is the thing in the middle comes in handy a lot, because I don't know how long that fucking AoE explosion hangs around for, but you hit Eggman or Tails once or twice, they start firing the laser at you. You could probably hit them. I don't think they're invincible when they're firing the laser. So a lot of times what would happen is, while I was just getting blown away by the fucking laser, I would continue shooting at Eggman or Tails, and also the thing in the middle of the room.
It's really just it's playing chicken until one of you dies.
Essentially, and usually what would happen is I'd get the hit off and the AoE thing in the middle of the room, and that would, I don't know how much damage that does, but I think it's basically enough to kill them if they're at, like, half health or lower.
I'm not looking forward to having to do both of those fights at some point.
I mean, it's one. I like how this has the same problem as the fight with Sonic and Shadow 2, where the voice clips go over each other.
Yep. So while you're playing, you're not even listening to something interesting. You're listening to something bad and repetitive.
It usually just ends up going just like, oh no, I got a firepower laser! Oh fuck!
Firepower laser!
So, that fight, yeah, sucks in this bullshit and I hate it, but big laser is always fun. I always like a big laser. How did that not tear through the room that they are through? That is a fucking powerful laser.
Oh, please, Joe. Space technology.
Final chase.
Yup.
Shadow's hanging out in space here, watching I forgot about this. Shadow's hanging out, just watching the window here from his normal Mario room, I guess. From his Mario room. He's playing versus Super Mario Brothers in an arcade cabinet. And he sees the capsule explode outside, and he goes, I guess he was just a regular hedgehog after all.
Yeah, regular hedgehog. Original Bell Johnson hedgehog.
One that's fucking bipedal and speaks, and fuck, we've been over this already so many times.
None of it makes any sense.
Rouge is back in the control room here, and is just fucking for whatever reason. She's just like, all right, cool. So if you get all the Chaos Emeralds together, they say that a miracle occurs, and I've got 6 of them. And Shadow's just like, what? What are you doing?
Wait, hang on. Can we talk about your character motivation really quick?
Was this your plan from the beginning? Or was it a direct order from the president? Now I know who you are. You're that government spy, Rouge the Bat. Oh, that Rouge the Bat. Because I was thinking of Rouge Rodriguez when she introduced herself.
No, that's a different Rouge. Silly Joe.
Rouge doesn't really care about the revelation here and is just, teases and is just like, oh, so you did your homework. I consider this an invasion of privacy.
I looked at pictures of you on the internet and I was not happy with what I found. Do not Google search Rouge the Bat.
And Shadow's just like, the same thing can be said of you. You Google searched me and you saw gross pictures too, except it was of a gross lizard.
Wait, that's weird.
Rouge was just gonna take the emeralds and leave. Her work was done here, Kristen. And Shadow goes, you are one pathetic creature.
She's really actually the only person with any motivation in this game, I think. Which is, I would like the diamonds, please.
So, Rouge, yes, drops the lizard bomb here on Shadow, where she starts reading off, these are the results of the Ultimate Life Form Project Shadow. It is a lizard. And Rouge is just like, so, do you think you're the real Shadow? And Shadow's just like, huh? What?
Oh no, identity crisis. So you're telling me there's a lizard in this game and its name is Shadow?
Shadow the Lizhog, duh.
Yeah, quick question. In the flashbacks, Maria calls Shadow Shadow. What the fuck is going on?
I don't remember a lot of the weird bullshit that happened in the last story, so I guess we'll get
there. The lizard kind of comes out of nowhere.
Eggman calls Shadow at this point to end the identity crisis because it's just like, I've got the 7th Chaos Emerald, and someone's going towards the cannon, so you gotta stop them, I guess.
Jeez.
Shadow tells Rouge to leave the emeralds where they are with a vague threat of just being like, if you value your life, leave the emeralds. I'm gonna leave. Goodbye.
I trust you to follow through with my command. Bye.
He also says that the fake emerald is good enough for her, the one that blew up with Sonic, that one.
Also, is that a jab at her boobs?
Whoa.
The bat has fake tits.
Rouge asks Shadow if he believes he's the real Shadow and that his memories might not even be real. And Shadow goes, I'm Shadow, and my promise to Marie is the only thing that matters! Final chase!
Woo! And the keeping the promise has gone awesome so far.
My only notes for Final Chase, Kristen, we find ourselves in the final Shadow stage of the game, which sucks and is bullshit, but isn't as bad as Mad Space, 2 out of 10.
All I really remember about this stage, because I have not played it, is that the dumb gravity cylinders are dumb, and sometimes you jump off of them, and your homing attack is like, yes, you want to go down to death. Can do. You got it, Mr. Shadow.
I have spent the entirety of this game avoiding bullshit deaths. Final Rush is the only stage where I have encountered so many bullshit deaths that's why I gave it a fucking... Those weird gravity cylinder things are terrible. They're a terrible mechanic, they're an awful gimmick, and 90% of the time, you want to get to the top of it so you can stand on the top of it!
And then jump up!
So you can go forward!
Yes, progress!
If you're moving too fast, you just kind of fly off of it, and then you're not in its gravity anymore, and there's no way that you can get back toward, like, the stage or anything, and you just... You're gone.
Later!
Goodbye.
I'm outie. Fuck this video game.
I also got Shadow's Mystic Melody in this level.
Cool.
Which,
I didn't get any of that shit.
No, yeah, the Mystic Melodies are stupid anyway, and they're only useful for finding the Lost Chow missions, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. Would you like some more rings? Ha-cha-cha, here's 10.
Wow, 10 rings!
Don't spend it all at once, kid!
Other than that, I mean, Final Rush is definitely better because at least grinding is fun, I guess, but...
Wobble, 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 wobble.
But you got a lot of wobble, wobble noises, and we'll get there.
So we start the next cutscene, and Knuckles is sunbathing on the space colony arc with his cool sunglasses on. Like, well, nothing left for me to do. I got my emerald. Now I just gotta figure out how to get out of space.
Wait a minute, my echidna senses are tingling.
Whoa! And then a weird light with no particular texture to it hangs out, and Sonic flops onto the ground like a goddamn fish out of water. And Sonic is like, I guessed how to use Chaos Control to work, so... It's really not that hard.
You just gotta say Chaos Control.
You gotta wish really hard. I can fly, I can fly.
Sonic asks Knuckles to help Tails and Amy, and that this is their last chance he has to destroy the cannon, Kristen, and Sonic with the line of the game!
Before the cannon fires, I'll slam dunk it, fake emerald, in there!
Sonic, please...
I missed a note earlier where I said something that Sonic said to Eggman sounded like him saying, hey Eggman, come fuck this!
Sonic, no, please. Again.
He's just a hedgehog that loves adventure.
Final Rush is a stage that isn't great, Kristen.
Yup.
It is a stage with a lot of grinding, with a lot of wobble, 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 wobble.
Wobble, 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 wobble.
I always, Kristen, end up accidentally skipping a portion of the level, because no matter what, I don't know if this is intentional either, but I always end up flying off of a rail in the wrong direction. And you miss the platform and you're like, oh shit, and you're just waiting for your death, and then you're like, oh wait, what's that in the distance? Is that a rail? And then like 15 seconds pass as you aim yourself toward this rail, and you end up skipping, I'm gonna say maybe 45 seconds of the level, if that.
Yeah. There was a thing, the guy who I was watching stream this, there were people in the Twitch chat saying, like, oh, well, you can use the homing attack to get onto the rails, and he was like, no, nice try, you guys, I'm not doing that. Because it just doesn't work a lot of the time.
No, it does not, which is the problem.
He's like, maybe that was the intention of the developers. It sure is not how this game actually plays.
There's also not as much rail... I mean, this level is mostly rails, but there's not as much rail, like, extended rail going as I remember, and maybe it's either in, like, the final stage, or maybe I'm thinking of Sonic Heroes, even.
Who knows? I don't remember anything about Sonic Heroes.
There was a lot of grinding in Sonic Heroes, Kristen.
Oh, yo, if you say so. What I feel like I remember erroneously from this and Skyrail was the idea that you need to switch rails a lot more often, which I'm glad you don't, because I keep thinking to myself whenever I'm playing these levels, like, oh shit, what button do you press to switch rails? Because I don't actually know.
That was the thing that I was thinking too, and that must be in the last story or something, because I distinctly remember where there's a lot of, you know, you need to get off the rail before it ends or you die.
I'm not looking forward to that if that is something we have to look forward to.
Also, the other gimmick thing of this stage is using homing attacks on these rails that are basically like elevators, kind of.
Cool! Yeah, they just bring you upward. Most of those aren't too bad. Luckily, on the other sides of those, there are railings that keep you from... There's like smash pads that keep you from flying straight off the edge and dying in the atmosphere.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
So, Kristen, the level ends with you being chased by molten hot steel stuff for some reason. It's like the arc is like... I'm wondering if these are the discarded pieces of the engine that Tails blew up.
I was gonna say, is there like a gap in the thing that was holding all the lava in Mad Space? Or the other one, Meteor Herd.
So, Kristen, here we are. The final confrontation of Sonic and Shadow. This cutscene is the same in both stories. Sonic is just standing there. Kristen, why is Sonic just standing there when the cannon is going to fire in like a minute?
Because it isn't dramatic if he does it when there's a minute left. He has to wait until there are seconds left.
So Shadow comes over here and he goes, "You never cease to surprise me, Blue Hedgehog.
His name is 5 letters. Learn it."
He's like me, Kristen. I gotta write down the full name of an actor when the name of his character is shorter.
I guess so. You not knowing the name shows how little you actually care.
Shadow comments that he thought the capsule exploded in space, and Sonic goes, "What can I say? I die hard."
What the fuck does that mean?
Sonic reveals it was chaos.
No, explain it!
John McClane!
I guess so.
Sonic reveals that the reason he survived was because of Shadow, because he ended up using Chaos Control.
And Shadow rightfully thinks that's impossible, because how the fuck did he figure out how to use a teleporty thing?
So, Kristen, I have a bit of a problem here with...
Also!
Yes.
They make it very clear that Chaos Control isn't actually teleportation. It's just that you move fast, and Sonic was still sealed inside of that capsule.
I don't know, Chris. Yeah, how was Sonic able to see Shadow when he was doing Chaos? Whatever, fuck it. Whatever. Maybe Chaos Control wasn't perfected at that, but I don't give a shit.
In the battle mode also, when you're playing, I think it's this stage,
it just
whatever.
ends up as a time stop.
Yeah, you just freeze the other person.
Yeah.
I choose to... They have put so much evidence toward that being what it actually is. There is no evidence that it's teleportation besides the one time that Sonic needed it to be. Name it something else then!
So, Kristen, as well, with the end of the Dark story that we'll get to here, as well as Shadow being like, "That's impossible," what are the chances that this is some kind of fucking... Not that it was a big gambit, that everything ended up turning out correct here, but what's the chances that Tails actually gave Sonic the real emerald?
I don't remember if that's a thing and there's a switcheroony. I really don't.
I mean, because I'm pretty sure the last story, like the Dark story, ends with Eggman just laughing and a big warning thing coming up, and the Hero story ends with the cannon thing blowing up as a result of Sonic, presumably. I don't know how he does it, but it happens. And the last story starts with the thing starting to fire and blowing up. So, with, I think, like, neither person getting to, like, neither Sonic or Shadow, like, having the advantage at the end, I guess. So I'm pretty sure something happens to where Sonic actually had the real emerald, and Eggman ends, because Eggman takes the fake one, which he thinks is the real one. I don't know.
Because, like, visually there's no difference between them, and he just knows that one of them is fake, and he assumes that the one that they try to pun off on him is the fake one, because otherwise why else would they bring it? Right. I feel like in the final story there's them going like, "Oh yeah, Sonic had the real one the whole time."
That's the thing, I don't remember. But I feel like that's something that I should remember if it does come up, but then again, like I said previously, a lot of times we would just skip cutscenes because, fucking...
Oh, the suspense is unreal. I cannot wait to hear all about it.
So, anyway, Sonic and Shadow are just, like, walking along, then they start running here, and it's just, "So there's more to you than just looking like me. What are you, anyway?"
"I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Just a guy that loves adventure."
"I see. But I can't let you live."
Cool.
So the fight, Kristen. This fight was always confusing to me as a child because I didn't really know what to do, but it's insanely simple, actually.
Explain it to me, since I didn't play it.
So you're both running. You're running along a thing here. If you stay in one place too long, like the ground behind you will fall and you'll die. There are various ring strings that you can use the light dash on here. If you run too far ahead of Sonic or Shadow, you get the fun, again, voice clip.
This is the ultimate. What?
Chaos Control. That happens a lot, so he'll run back in front of you. And if you try to homing attack him, he will, you'll bounce off him.
Yep.
So what you need to do, the insanely simple part here, if you let the opponent get far enough in front of you, they will use their multiplayer attack on you. They will come to a dead stop, first of all.
Hang on! I need to be standing still for this to work.
Sonic Wind! And they'll use that attack on you, which more than likely will hit you unless, because I found the strategy is, as soon as they have their tell of, I'm not done with you yet, or whatever, you just start homing attack, and then they play the little cutscene of Sonic going, Sonic Wind! And because you're already in the homing attack, you outrun the attack, and then you just homing attack the back of their spines. And you do this 4 times, I think? Which, again, can be done in less than a minute.
Nice. I'm glad I have this strategy for when I now have to do it twice.
So, the thing is, Kristen, for a final boss fight, nothing changes, like, the strategy doesn't change, you don't start suddenly running in a different direction or anything.
Nope.
There aren't, like, phases of the boss fight, it's the exact same thing, and nothing changes. Now, if you do want a little bit of challenge, which I believe I did this because I wasn't really, I didn't know to homing attack and whatever.
You didn't know to game the stupid AI.
I didn't know how to game the stupid AI. What I thought you needed to do was, in those rings, one of them is directly in the middle of the stage. Yes. And what you can do is when Sonic or Shadow uses Chaos Control, you can hurt him by using the light dash through that thing of rings just as they Chaos Control back to reality. Back to right in front of you. No, that's the thing. That takes a long time and it's stupid.
I did just start thinking, so depending on how long this level takes, you were running a straight path through arc that could be miles and miles and miles and miles long. I was thinking, like, we talked about why is the jungle loop-de-looped and stuff like that. Why does the highway look like this? That's not practical.
Why does the space colony have a...
Yeah, why does the space colony look like this? But then I was like, oh no, it makes complete sense. That was Shadow's old personal parkour park.
A straight line. What great parkour.
Yep. Well, I mean, the railings are better parkour. But this is how he learned how to do all of his cool stunts.
So, we get to the endings of each story here, Kristen. Eggman is hanging out in the control room here where he throws the yellow emerald in, and he goes,
Slam dunk!
This completes...
Boosh!
He goes, this completes my plan to take over the world, starts throwing his arms back, laughing and 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 laughing for about a good 15 to 20 seconds here as it ends with the camera zooming in on a screen that says warning. That might be a warning alarm. Yes, a warning air horn. But
warning, shit's about to get real. Also, it's a fake emerald, you dumb old man.
It's a shitty ending.
Sure is.
I understand that. I think this is the canon ending before the last story, I think. But it's a shitty way to end, especially if you go through all of it just like, okay, now what? And I understand that you need to do the hero story and stuff, but whatever. But the ending of the hero story is much longer and much, I wouldn't even say satisfying, but it's...
it has a sense of finality to it.
Yes.
And not just a... If you were a little kid, you finished the dark story because, Shadow's so cool. At what point is it like, that's the credits? Well, fuck this game then!
So the end of the hero story here, Kristen, the Eggman. That's what he is. He is the Eggman. He's got the master plan.
The Eggman.
He's down for the count here, and Tails, forlorn, thanks Sonic's ghost, and it's just like, I did it, Sonic! You and me!
Rest in peace.
Rest in pepperoni!
Cheese pizza.
And his walkie-talkie just comes on, and Sonic goes, cheese pizza!
Wow! Bagel bites!
And it's Sonic. He's like, hey, look outside! And
I'm in space!
We see Eggman grasp for the emerald that Tails just left near him, I guess. Maybe, again, part of the gambit or something.
He threw it at Eggman's head after he killed him.
This timeline doesn't make sense if this is the case, because Eggman couldn't realistically teleport, unless Eggman could teleport immediately to the room, which I don't know, whatever.
Chaos control.
So we see the Eclipse Cannon powering up here, and it explodes, and there's Sonic right in the middle of it all. He's hanging on the fucking Luke of the Empire Strikes Back thing at the bottom of Cloud City, and he flips Tails off. He gives Tails a big middle thumbs up here, and the day is saved.
Credit song.
So, Kristen, that was the end of Sonic 2, or was it?
It wasn't, because there's a final story.
Oh, there is, you're right. I wanted to mention here...
We need to fight a fucking lizard!
I wanted to mention here, Kristen, one thing about the... After you finish, depending on which story you finish first, it gives you like a little trailer for the story that you didn't finish.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
And that's the thing. I didn't look on YouTube for the one of like the dark story because I feel like I almost always end up finishing the dark story first.
That feels like it checks out to me too.
The one for the hero story is, just like intrigue, Sonic the Hedgehog captured, and I believe it ends with the thing at the beginning of City Escape with him, like, flying out of the helicopter with the thing, and the voiceover going, "Goodbye, Sonic, forever."
Oh my god! Nothing even remotely like that happens.
So there's one for the last story too, when you beat both stories, which is why I'm sad that you don't get to see both. We're gonna play that at the beginning of the next episode, by the way. Spoiler of that episode, because it's hilarious. But the final story will be the 4th installment of this here, Kristen, signified by a big damn question mark in the game, so you know that it's mischievous.
Ooh, feel like that. There's a lizard behind door number 3.
So you know that it's Mismagus.
Yes.
So you know that it's Haunch Crow.
Okay. Shut up.
Now is the point in the evening where I'll list off all of the fun contact things, where you can find us. You can follow us on the Twitter machine at cwtapod. You can follow me
For footage of the game freaking out on me.
You can follow me at Octopus. That's AWKTAPUS.
You can follow me at FunnyGirlTM, like trademark.
You can find us on the iTunes, on the SoundCloud, on the Stitcher Radio. Leave a rating, give a review, do whatever you feel like. You can also drop us a line, cwtapod@gmail.com, where you can tell us all about how much you hate Mad Space and how much you want to die, like Kristen. Or, hey, just tell us how much you like the game. I'm sure there are people out there. Kristen, I remember you saying you were getting shit from people.
It was one of those things where, hey, nostalgia-tinted glasses. Oh, Sonic Adventure 2 is hilarious. It's great. It's amazing. Then you play it and you're like, this is terrible! This is bad and I want to die!
Speaking of bad and I want to die, or at least just want to die, next week, Kristen, is the penultimate episode of Gem. It is written by parent problem enthusiast Roger Slifer, and is the humanizing episode for Riot, which is weird because you'd think Riot, who is basically just literal humanization of a 7 deadly sin, or all of the 7 deadly sins, probably.
Hey, why not?
No, we find out he's a person with a shitty dad.
Hey, let's wait until the second to last episode of Gem to make Riot seem less shitty.
Make sure you get ready for it. For the Can We Talk About podcast, my name is Joe.
I am Kristen.
And join us next week where it will be Riot's Hope.
Hope is in the mail. It's very expensive to ship.